oh my God, I'm so excited. And to be honest, I was like, oh, Mia, I have like, 4 different things that I want to talk to her about. And then last week I was recording with Claude, and I was like, okay, with her, I kind of have to structure because we've lived so much stuff together, right? Like it's a span of like, and then like I was preparing for our interview and was like, well, I think that it's the same thing for me and I, but in a different way. Like, and I was like, okay, like this is meant to be a conversation that is like light. I do have like a kind of like a guideline where I want us to go, but at the same time, like I just welcome anything that you're gonna contribute, because I really, really believe and I really feel in my body that your mission in this life is so aligned with mine that it's gonna be a no-brainer.
Oh no, I'm not stressed up about it at all. I know it's going to be a great conversation. It always is. Every time I'm with you, it flows. So yeah, no, I'm very, very excited. And I know you, so it's not like I don't know your energy. I know you. I feel you, and I see you, and I'm happy to be in this space with you. And honestly, Marie-Ève, congratulations. I mean, this is amazing that you've created this from scratch, out of nothing. All this hard work, all this. I mean, listen, the path is not easy. And some people would look at the success or at the final products, and sometimes you make it look and feel so flowy that it looks easy. But I know it's not. I know the amount of work that goes behind it, and I know the amount of transformation before the work that went into it. And that, I think, it's the toughest thing. It's because once you have clarity, the work itself is okay. It is, like you said, a no-brainer.
Yes.
So
but you have to get to the clarity.
Yes. I keep saying clarity is $1 billion. And people don't get it. If you don't have clarity, you don't have shit. You got nothing. You can work, you can struggle, you can pedal, you can grind. Nothing will come out of it. It's clarity. But to have it, it's a whole process.
It's a whole process.
Yes.
I am so glad to have you here, Mia. I am so glad to dive into a wonderful conversation with you. About a year ago, I actually saw like something came up on my Facebook, like memories.
Yes.
And I was like, oh my God, like this feels like it's like another lifetime. Like it's so much has happened in the last year, and I know that it's been the same or a similar thing for you. So I am so looking forward to dive into this and to have the listeners grasp and taste and feel how much this is possible for everyone.
Yes.
For everyone.
Yes. Yeah, if one human can do it, every human can do it.
Yeah, exactly. I want to dive. I have your book here in my hands.
Oh, okay, great.
And I actually wanted to start this conversation with the first 2 paragraphs of your foreword. I think it's going to set a little bit of the tone of, this journey that we're on, and how much beauty there is in what we live in our lives. Yes. And I think that it's going to be a good way to start this. So
okay, I'm excited.
I have in my book, I'll put the links in the show notes. Mia has a poem book that she wrote that is called A Butterfly's Kiss, a healing journey through the power of creative expression. And our 2 first paragraphs of the foreword are: I waited 12 long years to publish this book, mainly because it came from a raw place of depression and despair. I struggled with the idea of showing the world, and mainly my friends and family, my state of being. I was suffering. I was fighting a severe clinical depression, and to be honest, I felt ashamed. Despite what was happening inside me, I smiled. I wanted to close the door shut and lock that ugly beast out of sight. Most importantly, I didn't want my 2 young children to see it or to feel it. Having grown up in a broken family, the last thing I wanted was to inflict that pain onto my kids and to watch them struggle with the bitter taste of human suffering. So I suffered in silence. That's a powerful forward.
Thank you so much, Maria. This brings me back. Wow. Yeah, this brings me back. I had goosebumps. You reading my own words. It's funny how when we put it out in words on a piece of paper, it has an energy, but when it's reflected back to us, it has the energy is 100 times higher. So to hear my words through you was a mirror that, oh my God, it shows me how much I've overcame. And at the same time, it makes me deeply joyful because it reminded me that if I could do that, anybody can. And this is wow, this energy of where I was, now I can feel it. It was yes, a very painful, but a beautiful energy in a way. The energy of destruction of the old, the energy of burning in flames what's hurting you, what's no longer serving you. And people don't understand what depression is. The flames of this depression tears everything down to rubble and allows you to rebuild from scratch. You have an empty space that's now completely ready. It's fertile soil. It's like when a volcano erupts, it burns everything, but then the soil becomes so fertile after that. And the creative energies that come out of this destruction are beautiful. Not that everybody needs to go through depression. It's not what I'm saying. No. It's not that. But here's the thing. If you are continuously cleaning, rebuilding, refining, redesigning, you don't need depression. I didn't do this work. The first I'd say 35 years of my life, I did not do that work. So things kept creeping in and being molded into my world, that at some point it overtook it. And this is why, the depression happened. It was needed. There was way too much. That I was overcrowded. There was too much, and I couldn't do it.
Too much clutter.
It was too much. When a building is deemed unsalvageable, they break it, they tear it down, they bring it down. If it's too much, you can't salvage this building anymore. I think I had to tear it down. I had to go. It was too much. And I learned from it. And people might think that depression is something that just happens to you, like you catch the flu, you catch a cold, you're gonna have a depression. It doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't. If you keep nurturing the relationship to yourself, to your source, whatever you believe in, to your community, to your heart, there's no room for depression. Your building is beautiful. It's constantly being regenerated in health and love and expansion and creativity. There is no room. You're not going to get depression. So there is a way to live healthy. And unfortunately, the society doesn't, well, there is a movement of change. I can see it.
Mhm.
And it's not mainstream yet. And I know that what you're trying to do with your podcast is to make those ideas, and they're not just ideas, ways of life, how to
Yes.
design your life in a way to grow and thrive and connect to yourself and learn about you and the real life, the reality, the truth behind what's constantly been flashed in front of your eyes on billboards and on magazines, on social media, on this is why I feel such blessing to be sitting here with you, because that message needs to go out.
It
Needs
needs
to
to go
be,
out.
yes,
Yeah,
it
it
needs to
needs to
be
go out.
mainstream.
There's two pieces that are just beautiful, that what you said about, well, first of all, what really, when we came into the mastermind space together, what really struck me about you is how much you believe in, if there is this much darkness, there has to be this much light.
Yes.
It has to, there's an harmony, there's a balance in this universe, that we need to release the belief that there's only darkness, because I believe too that there's an equal amount even of light. So there's one thing about depression, and I've had 3 episodes of depression burnout in my life, so I've been there down the barrel, and I do agree 100% with you that we don't have to go there to rise from the ashes like a phoenix.
Yes.
But when we are there, what is the gift in there is that there is nothing else than us on the ground, and our ultimate decision to get up.
Yes.
With that light.
Yes.
And to rise again and again. Yes. And again. And this is the most raw, the most pure, the most powerful way to tap into our capabilities that we can ever be gifted or imagine that we can actually have.
That's true.
For me.
That's very true. That is so true. Listen, the most impressive pieces of art, whether it is poetry, sculptures, you think
Paintings.
of art, music, most of it come from pain. Mm-hmm. So those who know how to play this instrument of pain to create beauty will create songs that will change. And by songs, it's, your song could be a poem, your song could be a podcast, your song could be a program, your song could be a conscious parenting. What is your voice? That's your song. And to really let that voice resonate in truth and in beauty and your core talents, because everybody has them. There is no coincidence humans are here. Every human is not a mere coincidence. We're here for something. Mm-hmm. We're here because we're carrying a seed of a talent that is beautiful, every single one of us. So you're right, there is this paradox of light and shadow, and they exist together. It's just, it cannot be otherwise. How can it be otherwise? It cannot, because balance is a dynamic phenomenon. Balance is constantly correcting from right to left. It's not a static thing. So everything is a complete phenomenon. And when you look at darkness, there is light that comes from it, that is behind it, that surrounds it. And same from light. There is darkness around it, and that's okay, because that's how it is, until you transcend both. And you say, I am flowing in the river of life, and light and darkness don't affect me anymore. I am above both. I am above both because I'm transcended. I've transcended the two experiences, and my life is now a river that goes here and there at the same time, and it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. I love it because you have a lot of the river for me is it's such a powerful image. I'm a river mountain person.
Yes.
And valleys.
Yes.
And one thing that I know that has changed the way that I see how I navigate this life is that it's this letting go, like we're a river, and I think that it's much lighter. I'm not gonna say easier necessarily, but it's much lighter to actually like have this knowing that we're just navigating, no matter what the terrain is. Actually, it's not personal. It's just we're moving through this terrain that is in front of us, with the goal to get to the ocean.
That is beautiful. I have watched recently a short movie on Gaia. I don't know if you know this, the Gaia TV. Anyway, it's called The Secrets of Water. Now that we're talking about the river, okay. That is in imagery beautiful, but in reality even more beautiful. And I've learned, which is sad that I've learned this at that age, because this should be taught in school, that water is not just a mere fluid. It is alive. Water is alive, and you can kill water. You can kill the crystals, you can kill the dynamics, you can kill the energy in water. And also water retains the memory of everything it comes in contact with. If it contacts humans, it gets the energy and the memory of these humans, the corals, the fish, the vegetation. Water is alive. And when we look at that water as a life, and we're letting go, and we're drifting away with this water, right? We're drifting away with this river where it takes us. We are collecting all the wisdom, all the information, all the biology and the energy and everything there is in this life, everything there is. And to drift in the river of life, whether it is an image in your mind or whether it is an experience in your body, is life itself. It will lead you to where you need to go, because it knows your biology, it knows your energy, it knows your spirit. Water knows you at a deeper level than you can know yourself. So I take a deep breath, and as I exhale, I watch myself drift in this river of life, and I know you are as well. And look where you landed. What a beautiful place.
What a beautiful place. And the thing is, by giving in to that knowledge, what I think is unbelievable is the undeniable interconnectedness of everything.
Yes.
Everything. So a lot of the times, because that actually flows into the other piece of what you said earlier. A lot of people, when they've had depression, anxiety, or whatever, you're getting into a better place, but then you live with the fear. You live with the fear that you're going to go back, that it's going to come back, that it's kind of like something that you actually like. And a lot of the times when you're looking like, like depression or addiction or everything, like we actually we have a flip, like black and white, that is not flip black and white. Like, for example, addiction, the contrary of addiction is not sobriety. It's connection. Yes. It's connectiveness.
Right.
Yes. We are meant to be together, not just human, not just because we're social animal. We are part of something that is so much bigger than us.
Yes.
but at the same time, so much small because it actually infiltrates everything. It's like the kind of like a big, for lack of a bit of a better word, like matrix of
Yes.
life that we're
Yes.
moving and intertwining together. And I feel like, you know, for those of the listeners that know about it, it actually flows into my understanding of what the fascia is in our body.
Yes.
And how we actually, when there's issues in our bodies, a lot of the time it's because that fascia, that fabric that we are made
Yes.
of, that is in my heart, connected to all around,
Yes.
kind of gets into a clump, and then pain arises, and then we have things that are arising in our bodies that are fed with the emotion, that are creative even more, and then we're trying to fix the issues with a traditional way of thinking when we need to change the paradigm. I think that speaks to you.
Yes. Oh my God, so much. Like you said, like the fascia is the connectiveness, the container that allows the body to exist. There is also a field of connectedness, a container that everything exists within. Nothing exists outside of this container. And this container is as big as the universe. And people keep thinking, here's the thing, around us, right? We have the blueprint for perfection because this is how we were born. Our energy around us in this big container, there is the blueprint for perfect health, perfect life, perfect body, perfect harmony. And when the bodily fascia gets affected, it's when between the outer container and the inner container, energy is not flowing because of emotions, intentions, experiences, trauma, PTSD, fears, anxiety. All those clog the passage between big container, human container, and the body gets afflicted with pain. And it is unfortunate that medicine looks at that site on the body. They look at that specific site. And, you know, sometimes it's helpful because you fall, you break a bone, you need that bone fixed, right? But my God, I'd say I would, if I want to be conservative, 75%, but I know it's more. Over 75% of ailments have nothing to do with the localized issue that medicine is treating. Your knee, your vertebrae, your your skin. It's insane that they don't look at this overall being. And what is this site telling us? What is it telling? What is the story of this? What's happening? What's clogged?
Because the site is just, it's just the tiny point of the iceberg, but we're really like just addressing the iceberg, right? Like that is above the water. We're not taking into account what's underwater, and also what is underwater connected to other things.
Yes, exactly. And you know, we are not meant to float out there feeling alone, because we're never alone, but we feel it. We're not meant to be floating alone in the universe. So yes, if you want to live a life that is a life of empowerment and health and creativity and happiness, you have to find your anchor. And this anchor it's not one anchor. It has an anchor to yourself. So it goes to your heart, to your higher source, whatever you believe in, whatever higher than you source you believe in. It goes to your community. These are anchors that when people don't have, they fill the void in different ways. This is why depression comes in, addictions come in, overeating come in, workaholism come in, alcoholism come in, hoarding come in. So many disorders to fill this void. And unfortunately, therapists and psychologists will tell you, oh, you're at risk. You've had depressions before, you're at risk. You're not at risk of anything. You're never at risk of anything if you know how to live and design your life.
Oh, I need us to take a moment here, because it took me a long time to get rid of that label that the medical community gave to me.
Yes.
And I was like, what are you, like, I'm free. I'm not, I know I'm not going, I actually know why I was going there. What was the kinks in my relationship with myself, the kinks with the relationship with the outside world, with my community, with like how I was engaging in my relationships. But like your like label, and this is so detrimental, because again, it points in a direction where if you have something else, then it's always linked to that, when we're not even widening our understanding, our ability, our willingness to see beyond that. And I think that for women in particular in the medical community, there's a lot of gaslighting, there's a lot of shame, there's a lot of belittling, there's a lot of like violence, and I'm not lightly using this word. There's a lot of violence that is actually like inside the community that we are exposed to as women, and we don't even know. It's so widespread that it's actually seeping everywhere.
Yes, it is a danger. It's very dangerous, because when it goes into your subconscious mind, you've signed that contract, and once you sign that contract, you're allowing it to happen. So when you agree, right, you've been told you had 2 depressions, you're at risk, you might need to take medication for the rest of your life. Right? Someone in a white coat told you this, looked at you, told you this. This is genetic, you have it, you carry it, you've developed it. So now, if this goes and seeps through, because it's accepted, like you said, widespread. If it goes through your subconscious mind, you sign that contract, this is true, I believe it, it is going to happen. It is going to happen. Because your subconscious mind is now agreeing with something that is completely false, but it is agreeing with it. Mm-hmm. And that is the danger of widespread ideas and widespread violence when it's accepted at a mass level. Let's say for women, for women, or for, let's say, some people go to target, Black people are at risk for this, Middle Easterns are at risk for that. This is all nonsense. This is all nonsense. And the latest science is showing that it's nonsense. The science of epigenetics now show that 99% of diseases have nothing to do with genetics. So
you're saying 99%. I actually recorded a podcast that has that to be released, but I was saying it's between 80 and 85%. But even so, even if we're actually very conservative, it's a very, very big part.
I am watching more and more and more scientists talk about this. And it is unbelievable how, it's incredible. And I encourage people to go and listen and read the latest science, read what people are discovering, that what is wrong in this society. Let me talk about a little bit about, what's inflicting so many. I heard 50 million yesterday, 50 million, 70 million Americans struggle with chronic pain, 70 million, something like this. I don't know how many million of this struggle with back pain. The back pain is a big epidemic in the United States and worldwide.
Worldwide, I think it's over 87%, something like that, of people in their lifetime that are going to have experienced back pain. Back pain specifically, yeah.
Yes. The thing is, the latest science and research has shown now that every single MRI will show you something that's abnormal, because we can't have a perfect spine growing up. And it starts for as early as when you're in your 20s. Every single MRI you're going to have will show abnormal results. It will. You have to just agree that it will. And to use this as an excuse that this is causing your back pain is insane to me, is insane to the whole community, because it doesn't. They have done some extensive research where people with the same findings have absolutely no pain, live normal lives. But once you see it, they show it to you in a white coat. They point to it. You see this? Your spine is fragile, it's broken. This is what's causing your pain, and it's gonna get worse. And when it's at its worst, we're gonna operate.
But we're gonna wait until, you know, it's really
Until you're
ingrained in
crippled.
you, then
Yes.
you're crippled. You're actually, I mean, you're talking about the science and the literature, but you have personal
I have a personal experience
lived experience about this. Yes.
Yes.
You want to talk about that?
Oh my God. Yes. 7 years. 7 years. I could barely bend down to tie my shoes. I was literally crippled. And I did go for MRIs, many of them, neck and spine. I'm not mentioning my 2 shoulders and shoulder surgeries that I think could be completely prevented, but let us focus on the back. It showed degenerative disease, it showed bulging discs, it showed nerve root compression, it showed stenosis, it showed a whole cocktail of abnormalities, if you want to call them this way. Mm-hmm. And I mean, I've sat down in many practitioners' offices. The last one I went to see was really a spine surgeon. And the story is always consistent. You have this in your spine. You need physical therapy, chiropractor, injections. And I've done all of this. Stretching, stop carrying things, even your purse. The pain management doctor said to me, I was in my early 40s. You can't carry your purse. What? I have 2 kids. I'm a single mom. I can't carry my purse. How am I gonna live my life? You can't run, so no high impact. You can't, you need to live your life carefully. Do you know what fear that creates in a human being? That anytime you're doing something, you're thinking, am I being careful? Am I hurting my spine? And those same thoughts will create more pain, because nervous system is picking up on a dangerous situation. And when the nervous system feels danger, it sends pain signals to stop you from moving, because it deems that this situation is dangerous. Mm-hmm. So I did this over 6 years, living in fear, living in pain. The more I treated it, the more painful it became. Because the more I signed this contract, every time I treated it, I re-signed it. It's broken. Mm-hmm. It needs treatment. It needs rehab. It needs, I bought an inversion table, flipping upside down every morning for 20 minutes. The injections themselves are so invasive. I mean, they're putting a needle in your spine, around your spine, close to your spine. Nothing worked, obviously, because the issue was not in my back.
It's not in your back. And even if you have abnormality, this is interesting, because I have an experience with chronic pain. I did develop chronic pain in a certain way in my life, and it was the contrary. They couldn't find anything on the MRI, on the RX, and I'm like, yeah, but I'm in pain, people. Can we please, like, so this is interesting, because when it's not there, then it's in your head, and yes, they can't help you. And then when it's there, then it's like in your body only, right, and then they can't, like, so coming from 2 different places, living with chronic pain, going down some rabbit holes. Yes. At some point we say, okay, hold on a second, there has to be something else. Exactly. So Marie-Ève, I would wake up in the morning and tell myself, oh my God, I have 14 more hours till I go to bed. How is it gonna go? This is how I started my day. I would open my eyes in pain, and I would go, oh,
14 more hours till I pass out and I forget about this pain. And when I read this book that is, I recommend for, they should make this book mandatory in school. It's called Healing Back Pain, by Dr. Sarno. And in this book, he talks about the back pain and mainly back pain, but he touches on so many different ailments. There's migraines, fibromyalgia, sciatica, you name it, carpal tunnel syndrome, you name it. And how the root cause of all this is really a mind-body issue, and that the brain is considering pain in your body safer than the emotional pain in your life. And it sends it initially as a distraction because it judges that you can't handle the level of emotions that you're going through, or the level of you can't cope emotionally, and so it sends it to your body. When I read this book, and I told you how I lived for over 6 years, in 2 days, I was pain-free. I still am. And this has been over what now? 7-8 years? In 2 days.
Amazing.
It
That's
all
amazing.
dropped. It dropped like this. And my spine was the same. And my
And
findings.
it's still the same, right?
It is, if anything, it's older. So there's probably more stuff in there. But I run, I lift weights, I cycle, I hold my purse. I live a normal life, and most importantly, I sleep through the night. I sleep. I'm not awakened by pain. I'm not designing my life around pain. I'm not fearing. I live a healthy life. And how many people are suffering in vain? How many people out there, whether it is back pain or depression or anxiety, it's all the same. It's all the same. Or any tightness, trigger points. I tell you, oh, you have trigger points. You have this, you have that. Just listen to the whole story. Look at the human and empower this human to find the connections, to find solutions, to stop signing those contracts, to throw those contracts in the fire. And they will not have any depression. They will not have this. You're not doomed to have something. We're not.
We're absolutely not. And this is going to bring us to what you do as a living. And I want to dig into this because I've learned what we're talking about through like, and coming out of chronic pain and like working on, and it's a journey of self-discovery, of growth, of, like, and being willing to really look at what's going on for what it is not without, I don't want to say without fear, but with the fear is actually worse than what the truth is most of the time anyway. So,
Correct.
And I know that we were having like conversations and you use a technique that is, I didn't know about it when we actually met, and we did go into a release session together. And it is a technique that is a mind-body release therapy that works on your timeline.
Yes.
To release the stuff. Now, I'm going to let you explain a little bit what it is to the listeners, because I've seen a lot of tools out there and I've experienced a lot of tools. This one blew my socks, my mind, everything away. And I'm like, this needs to be talked about, because there's so much power in that tool. And there's so much love and kindness in the way that it operates, in the mechanics of it.
thank you for bringing this up. Yes, there are many, many modalities that are used, but mental and emotional release, this is what you are referring to. Mental and emotional release was developed by Dr. Matt James, who trained me. I was trained by Dr. Matt, and it is based in NLP, neuro-linguistic programming. And it is based in timeline therapy, for those who know what timeline therapy is. And the basis of this therapy is that you could release trauma and negative emotions that come from previous lives, or that were passed down to you generations ago, or that were developed in your present lifetime. And how it operates under the premise that negative emotions, the first time you experience it, let's say we're talking about anger, right? The first time you experienced anger on your timeline, whether it's this body or from before, if we can go there energetically, subconsciously feel it. Because, if you're telling me my subconscious is, and we talk about subconscious because when the practitioner prompts the questions, first of all, the person needs to be prepped for that and aware of what's going to happen and open. You need to be open to things will come and allow the answers to come to your subconscious. So we're not going remembering mentally and digging. We're not doing that. Where it's kind of a hypnosis therapy. So the practitioner brings the person to a very relaxed state, and we ask subconscious to subconscious, do you remember the first time that you felt anger? If you were to know, was it before or after your birth? And if the person says before, if you were to know, was it in a previous life or was it passed down to you? And the person in that state is not there mentally. So the person is open. And now the answer are coming, but they don't know where it's coming from. So the person might say, it was passed down to me. And then the practitioner would say, how many generations ago? And then by being so open and in trance, the subconscious mind will bring the answer. So let's say the answer is 2 generations ago. Okay, can you feel the event? And now the practitioner takes that person to that event, above the event. So we're not going into digging. We're not doing an investigation. We're just hovering on top of an event. We're connecting emotionally to the event. And the practitioner brings the person back before the event and any chains of event that caused the event to happen. Now, when you go before an event, you can't get angry ahead of time, right? If I told you in 10 minutes, I'm going to insult you, be angry now. You can't. So this is how, by going before the event, you're floating before and higher, the anger drops. You can't feel it. And when we drop the first event of anger, we're taking anger for an example, because we go through the whole set of emotions and any trauma that the person brings, any limiting belief. We can do this for as many things that need to be released as the person needs to. So when that first event drops, it's like beads on a necklace. The chain of anger drops. The whole lifetime of anger drops. It doesn't mean you won't be able to be angry in your life. It just means when you are, it's not tugging on this long chain of negative emotion and trauma that it used to, so you're not feeling it the same way. It's the difference between having some pain and suffer, right? So, and what we do also, we ask the subconscious mind to focus on the lesson. So what do you have to learn from this event? The learnings of which will allow this event to drop, the emotion to drop. And by focusing and retaining lessons, you understand that you're more empowered. You see it from a higher space. you see it from a bigger perspective. Now you're retaining the lesson. You're no longer connected to the emotion. And slowly the practitioner brings the person back on the timeline, asking the person to stop ahead of each event and do the same thing. Retain the lessons, drop the emotion, and continue your journey back to now. And it might seem crazy because, you know, some people would say, how would I know which events? Trust me, you've been through it, Marie-Ève. The subconscious mind knows which events are problematic. So by doing that journey, you're cleansing your body. How did it feel for you?
Well, it's interesting because first, you know, we were talking about the river, and I remember I actually felt like, you know, I had in my head, the timeline was like kind of my river. And then anything that was before was kind of like a cycle of like before that came, you know, like the rain from before. And like, this is my biology mind, listeners are getting used to that. So for me, it was like, how am I moving through this? And it's like I was like a little dragonfly, and I was just moving on my timeline.
Yes.
The things that I actually really thought that were brilliant, it's you're really in the state where you're letting your guards down.
Yes.
And you're having a prep. Obviously, there's a lot of prep that you're doing. With me, it was a release session, but you have a whole work that you do with some people and to bring them to a certain place where they can actually get into that.
That's right.
Pre-release prep and then do the release.
That's right.
And I remember that, yes, it's like an episode hypnosis, but you're still there, you're still aware of what's going on, but you're really like letting, and there is a level of safeness, of security that you bring to that space that is unlike anything that I've experienced. The amount of time that every time we're going to move, you ask me for my permission.
Yes.
For people that have had trauma, or anybody, but like specifically to retain so much sense of agency.
Yes.
To move into what's going on without plunging and scratching and we're really
digging. Yes.
And digging. We're really moving through that and really cutting the cords through those emotions linked to those events, keeping the lessons. This is I have goosebumps just thinking about it, because sometimes we think that the lessons are uniquely linked to the events and the pain. Yes. And we feel like either that event, it's part of our identity, that happens a lot. Yes. Or that if we let go of that event and the pain and the whatever feeling, that we won't retain the lesson, because we do have a lot of lessons. We were talking about the light and the, you know, like the light and the darkness. Yes. So in any time that we have the darkness, there are some lessons that we can actually like, and this whole experience was like unique because of all of the mechanics of it, because of all of this movement of like this sense of agency, the way that we're really cleaning, cutting. Yes.
So before this session to happen and to be successful, there needs to be a relationship with the practitioner. So rapport must be very solid. A relationship of trust and safety. A relationship where you know for a fact and you sense it and you feel it in your heart that your best interest, it's at heart, and that the practitioner is there for you. And the practitioner has no answers. The practitioner is helping you find your answers. All what the practitioner is doing is guiding you on your journey. And there is so much safety in it, because yes, there is the question, first of all, is it okay with your unconscious mind today to release anger and to be aware of it consciously? That is the question that has to prompt every single one of the negative emotions. And when you give that permission, there is always this relationship of trust that, don't worry, if anything happens, we're back here. There is no unsafety. There is no sense of, I'm doing something to you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm here with you. Let us take this journey. And, you know, oftentimes also when people can't drop the emotion, let's say we're there, you're on your timeline, and can you still connect to the emotion? And you could say yes. So two things might happen. First, you might not be at the first event. So this is where the practitioners say, let us try. You might not be at the first event. Let me ask your subconscious mind again. So we go through this. And if you are at the first event, now the practitioner asks you, what is it? What is it? Ask your subconscious mind. And this doesn't require an answer to the practitioner. This is between you and yourself. What is it that you're holding on to that is not allowing you to release this emotion? Remember that releasing this emotion is healthier for you, will allow you to thrive. Look at the lessons. So it's really all done in gentleness, in respect, in love, in embracing and accepting and honoring. There is the word. Honoring the
Yes.
human's personal journey and experience. There is no judgment. The person can share with the practitioner what they're feeling, seeing, but they also can remain private and keep those lessons to themselves. This is why I keep saying this is not a done unto you. This is done for you and with you. And the best results come from the bond, the rapport, the alliance that the person has with the practitioner. There needs to be a lot of love and trust, and energy flow. I can't put it in different form. And you will feel it. You felt the release. Your body felt different. So there was a shift in your biology. After this, the person feels it. Oftentimes they tell me, I feel lighter. Something has shifted. Something dropped off of my shoulders. There is a shift on the biology level that by releasing all this, retaining the lessons, this is empowering. It's not something that's shameful. It's not something that the person needs to relive any trauma. This is like just a gentle cleansing.
Just a gentle cleansing. And I in case the listener didn't catch on, you don't have to say what the event is.
No.
You're really, it's all you. If you want, like you said, if you want to share, then you can share. But this is even more powerful because not only you're not digging into this, but you don't even have to share. It's really just like flowing through all this energy, looking at the kinks, unraveling the kinks, cutting the cords, but like in such a, it's like it's like a massage.
Yes.
For all those kinks that have accumulated. And I actually discovered some stuff because there's beliefs for me, and I actually make a point because this is the point of the podcast. For me, when we actually talked about it, the belief or the thing that I had to release was my fear of rejection, which comes from my childhood. And this, I know, even through everything that I've done, this I know that is something that has been coming up so strong so often. I was like, if I'm going to do something that is powerful, that is impactful, I need to release this. So we went into the release, but we also did the fight. We did the fight. So there's shame, anger, sadness,
Guilt, anger, shame, guilt, sadness, hurt, fear.
and fear.
Yes. And
So
then And then we go through whatever you want to release. Let's for you, it was the fear of the limiting belief of rejection.
Exactly. So I came in, you said, do you want to do the 5? I said, yes, let's do the 5, but I came in for the fear. Because in my mind, it was like, and I've done some work. But through the work that we've done, there's 2 that, well, one that actually I knew I had 2, but it was kind of like linked to it. But the anger part, the anger release was very, the way that you did it was very life-changing in the way that I think, because I realized that it wasn't my fear. I've been holding on that fear, but to anger. I've been holding on to anger that was not mine. So that was something. The other thing was the sadness part. I did not realize how much it had seeped everywhere. Like it wasn't something that was like pinpoint. It was really something that was everywhere inside of me, everywhere outside of me. And that is something that I didn't expect to. So I'm very glad that I did all 5, because we could have done like, okay, we're just going to release the fear. But like by going in, I've learned so much about me and how I operate in this world and how to move through these emotions, to really move through the cords. And the powerful piece of it is that you give us the tool, you give me the tool, you give your clients the tools to do them. They can do it themselves afterwards. You can redo it for yourself.
Yes, you can redo it for yourself. And it's so easy. It's not, when I say easy, I use this word lightly because when someone thinks, oh, it's easy, it's not effective, it's not gonna give me results. We're also wired that you have to grind and work hard at big things to release. It's not true. It is just not true. It is easy. And when you see things from a higher perspective, you drop the emotions. Think of it. When you look at an event, by looking at it from 10,000 feet high, first of all, it shrinks. It's not as big as when you're in it. It gives you perspective. You see what's around it. And you can tackle it. When you're in it, when you're drowning in it, you can't tackle anything because you're drowning in it. So it is simple because it gives you perspective. It also gives you a tool to release, because before an emotion happens, you can't experience it. You cannot. You just cannot. Be sad now because something will happen in 10 minutes. It's impossible. So it gives you tools to work with how we operate, how the human body and mind and psyche operate, which is fantastic and easy.
Easy in a simplicity way. That's what you mean, right? And it's funny because as you talk, I'm like, I get the same feeling whenever I take the plane and I see the, that curvature of the earth. And I'm like, it's kind of, think about these astronauts that go on the International Space Station, how much, like they're what, like they're less than 300 that ever experienced this. Like they come back and like, they have a whole new perspective on things.
Yes, it is the perspective. It is definitely the perspective. And if you listen to older people will give you, if you really listen, and not everybody who grows old grows wisdom, right? Wisdom is not a given. You grow your wisdom if you're nurturing your experience, and you grow. Wisdom is like one of those amazing flowering that rarely happen, but when they do, it's amazing. So when you listen to a wise older person, why are they impactful? Because they have the perspective of a lifetime. The perspective is what gives humans this grasp on things and see through the veil and see the truth of reality and not being sucked in to the little events. That is what perspective does. And this is why when you listen to someone who's wise, you go, oh my God, you're like bathing in water, bathing in a river. We go back to it because it gives you all this. It gives you the perspective. It gives you the lessons the lessons are what needed for humans to evolve and survive. We're designed to learn.
We're designed to do this. It's
designed.
interesting because we don't see, like, once you're on the journey, you see this. It becomes so clear that you're just like, oh, okay, like this is where, like, and it gets addictive in a way that
Yes,
like you're less and less afraid, because it's like tapping into vulnerability. When you start, it's so scary because, like, but once you start to tap into it, there's nothing else that will give you immense strength and power in yourself. Not power like, like,
yes,
but like this sense of groundness, this sense of
yes,
like, of even if all of my stuff is there, nothing can get to me. And it's a little bit what you were saying. I'm above the
yes,
darkness. I'm above
yes,
the light. I've transcended this.
yes,
It's not about the ego anymore. It's really about higher self, connected to that perspective, that wisdom that has been there all along.
yes,
But
yes.
we have been too much in the noise.
That
A
is
lot of
so
the
true.
noise.
That is so true. If you think about it, the energy that's moving our bodies, the energy that's making our heartbeat, the energy that's making our bodies alive, this energy is pristine. You can't give disease to energy. You can't cut energy. You can't kill energy. You can't produce energy. Energy is pristine, is in itself a miracle. Energy is something that gives life, that moves you, that moves through you, that moves around you. And energy, as I said, is untapped, is pristine. So when you connect to that and you say, I am energy and body, and my energy is perfect and pristine and has all the blueprints, yes, you're above everything. You are above everything, because what can hurt this energy? Only your belief. Only your belief blocks it. It doesn't hurt it. It just blocks it. Those emotions are blocking this amazing, beautiful energy that is yours, that is in you. So I tell people, this amazing, healing, powerful, beautiful, untapped, pristine energy is in you. It's moving in you right now. Feel it. Feel the sense of empowerment that comes from it. And what else is there, really, when you have that? All the tales and the stories and the movies about drinking the syrup that will make you live forever. You have it. It's in you.
You do have the holy. It's been there all along. The holy grail is there.
It's you. It is in you. But we forget it because we look at this body all the time. And this poor body, we abuse this body. We look at it and we see so many flaws, and this body is just an amazing container for this amazing energy. So if you see it this way, you have a temple. You're living in a temple. And when this temple has, a hole in the roof and it's raining constantly, you keep changing the rug because you say, damn it, can't get a rug that doesn't get wet. Damn it. And you keep changing this rug. Look up. Fix your roof.
I love this. I honestly cannot think of a better way to end this conversation. I do want to, if you allow me, I will, in the show notes with your links, I will share my favorite poem of your book, if you allow me.
Yes. My God, this would make me so happy. Yes.
But I will only read the last paragraph of it, but the listeners can actually read but this is, before I read your bio, this is, for me, it's gold. When I read it, I was like, and it's the waves don't sink.
We've shared about this.
Yes. And the last paragraph is, shameless and free doesn't come in a wink. The great inner peace takes more than a blink. Being different feels heavy, like a wave in the sea. But waves are endless. Ocean waves don't sink.
Thank you so much, Maria.
Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your love. Today, all the time that we've been together, all the time before, for leading yourself to me, to us. Thank you for the work that you're doing. I love you.
I
And I
love
will
you
read
so
your
much.
bio. Mia is a certified integrative neuro-linguistic programming coach specializing in chronic pain recovery. After overcoming her debilitating chronic pain through the mind-body approach, she became passionate about helping others achieve similar results. This led her to study practical neuroplasticity and the emerging mind-body revolution in chronic pain treatment, mental and emotional release therapy, breakthrough therapy, hypnosis, and other therapeutic modalities. Mia founded her own holistic coaching practice to help people reclaim their power, overcome their limitations, eliminate pain, and live a life of freedom, joy, health, and well-being. Her mission: create a free world. I love you.
I love you, Maria. Thank you so much. So much gratitude.